Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I am very, very, very excited. Today, we are having a very special show with some wonderful ladies from Charlestown Urgent Care. Um, why is that not? Hold on. My camera transition did not work. There we go. Today, we have Dr. Aurora Balerdi. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And Mary Fusco from Charlestown Urgent Care. How are you guys?
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So first, let's give a little background on yourselves. Doctor, why don't you go first?
Well, I'm originally from Miami, but I've been in the New England area for about 30 years, and now we're in South County in Rhode Island.
Awesome. And Mary?
I came to work for Dr. Balerdi in December of 22, and when we opened the urgent care in May of 2023.
Awesome.
But I'm also now from South County.
You're also now from South County.
Right.
I like that. That's good. So how did you get into medicine first, doctor?
Well, my sister is a doctor, and I sort of liked what she did, and I followed in her footsteps.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I like that. What's your favorite part about your practice, especially now, like opening up an urgent care?
Well, practicing independently is one of the things that I think is the most attractive about Charlestown, and just being able to serve the community that we're at.
Awesome. You said that the clinic opened in 2023?
Yes, May of 23.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the building was pretty well established. We're over in, we're on Old Post Road in Charlestown, and it was starting from scratch, which was a long undertaking, credentialing both doctors for the facility and setting up all our diagnostic tools. We have X-ray there, so it was installing an X-ray room with all the codes, and it was quite an undertaking. And but we got it done in 5 months, and it's working very successfully, and we've been able to help thousands of people. So it's been great.
That's incredible. For those who may not know, what is the difference between an urgent care and an ER?
Well, in the urgent care, we can take care of things that are acute, but usually not things that are complicated, like, for example, a heart attack or a bad fracture. But anything less than that. So things like lacerations. We see children for most of their ear pain or things like that. We see that kind of.
Awesome. And I mean, I know that I would prefer to go to an urgent care 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, unless it's something.
Well, the wait times are
incredibly. Yeah. There's a reason it's called urgent.
Right.
But talk to me about insurance. Like, are you guys able to accept most medical insurances, or?
We accept most medical insurances. The things that we have trouble collecting is like Medicaid from out of state. We they don't generally pay. But we take all the majors: United, Blue Cross, Medicare. All of the major Cigna, Aetna, things like that. Yeah.
Awesome. That's more the side that you deal with, Mary, right?
Right. True.
And what would you say? Like, the world has changed so much probably since you started practicing medicine. Even if you started practicing medicine 3 years ago, the world has changed so much in the last 3 years. What has been the most difficult aspect of delivering quality care today?
Well, I think there's a few things. So locally, let's say in the southern part of Rhode Island, the one of the biggest problems is that there's such a shortage of primary care doctors. And so we see a lot of people that are bridging between primary care and between primary cares, whether they're out of state, whether their primary care is out of state and they need something today, or that their primary care has left. So that's one of the local things. And I think insurance, in terms of nationally, insurance stuff is
clearly
very difficult to
clearly insurances are a problem for any medical practice, but urgent care, we see thousands of patients because they can't see their primary, or they don't want to go to the emergency room for something that is severe, but the reimbursement is very low. And simple things like a urinalysis for a woman who has a UTI, most insurances do not pay for us to do that testing in house.
Oh, wow.
And so, it still costs us for the test. It still costs us for the doctor to, talk to the patient. Still we pay for our medical assistants to perform the testing, but they don't reimburse at all. So it's and it's like that for a lot of things. And the stipulations for insurance companies are there's many, and it's always very difficult to collect from them, and the reimbursement, like I said, is very low in the state of Rhode Island.
How, like, what I don't even know where to begin, and we're not going to solve that issue on this podcast, unfortunately, but that's got to be frustrating when you try to do your best to put patients first, and that's always what you're trying to do, is put patients first. And when people come into the urgent care, it's because they have some sort of an urgent matter, whether they're not feeling well, they're just a woman having a UTI is something that I think is a great example of this, because it's like, oh, it's a UTI, you take a pill and you'll be okay. But man, if your insurance doesn't cover it, and that becomes a burdensome thing for you, and then you ignore it, that's something that can turn fatal.
Right.
And the fact that it's not easily covered, and like all of that stuff, that's crazy to me. But again, not something we can fix on this podcast.
Every day,
Yeah.
things that are completely counterintuitive to good patient care.
Right, and that's what we're doing. Good patient care.
Of course you are. Yeah,
we test everyone that comes in and says they have a UTI, because it would be bad patient care not to.
Right.
The problem is that we don't get reimbursed for it.
Yeah.
And so we still do the test because we're providing good patient care.
Right. The
issue is above us, and this huge umbrella of people that are taking from the money that should actually go to physicians. It's an unbelievable,
or to cover services for patients.
Right.
Exactly.
That there are patients that need certain, let's say, an imaging study, like a CAT scan or an MRI.
Yep.
And they're not, you can't cover it unless you have to go through many hoops to get through it's very frustrating. Very frustrating.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I grew up in Richmond on the border of Charlestown, and for me personally, having to go to the doctor, having to go to urgent care, having to go to any of these things was at least a 20-25 minute drive in either direction. Right. I either had to go to Westerly or Wakefield for any sort of medical care ever. Mm-hmm. And
we're right in the middle.
Yes. So that's exactly what I was going to say. Charahoe is this large area that covers 3 towns. It's the same population as Westerly, which I think a lot of people don't realize, that those 3 towns together are the same exact population, almost the same exact population of Westerly, about 20-ish thousand people, a little bit more than 20,000 people. And the access to urgent care when you need it, and not having to go to these bigger towns that are further away, is so important. So I love the fact that this exists, and that it exists where it exists, because it's such an important need that it feels like for a long time it got overlooked. And so thank you for that, as somebody
We love
who
being here.
Mhm.
grew up in Cherahoe and spent so much time and still spend so much. I mean, we did 20-minute drive, less than a 20-minute drive for you guys to be here today from urgent care. So it's not far for anybody, but when you need something, when you don't feel well and you need to go get care, minutes matter,
Right.
you know? So,
Sure.
well, that's fantastic. What are some of the, are there things that you guys see more of now? Whether that just be like lifestyle changes or effects from, I just feel like the world has changed so much in the last 5 years in every direction possible. Are there situations that you see a lot more of now that maybe you didn't see pre-pandemic?
Definitely the shortage of primary cares.
Yeah.
It's astonishing how negatively affected we have, especially Southern Rhode Islanders are. It's
So they just don't have anyone to call.
Yeah.
If they had poison ivy, you used to be able to call your primary and
Yeah.
they'd say, yes, we'll take care of you, but no.
Yeah.
They can't see them for 3 months, or they can't see
Yeah.
them. We had a person with a bleeding, oozing tumor on his ear, and the derm couldn't see him until the end of November.
Yep.
So those are the things that we just say, okay, we're here to solve the issue for today and, try and get a primary, but most people are having a very difficult time.
And so that's the issue. We are credentialed for urgent care,
Right.
right?
Only.
But some problems become urgent because they've waited so long. They can't see a primary because they don't have a primary, or they have a primary who can see them for, who also are overwhelmed. The primaries that there are also overwhelmed because there's few. And so they say, okay, we can see you, but like in 3 months or 5 months. So sometimes we see things that are not urgent, that are not considered traditionally urgent, but that are urgent because they've been neglected for such a long time.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating for
That-
patients. Yeah.
That is incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about with the loss of primary care. Our like my friend group all went to primary care doctors that were from the same practice, and all of the primary care practices are now like part of bigger practices.
Yes.
And so they just decided that the rent in Westerly was a little bit too much than they wanted to spend. And now all of a sudden, like 7 of us all lost the ability to see our primary care doctor in the town that we live.
It's not surprising.
And they went to Wakefield. And then it was, so my partner, my girlfriend, has lupus and chronic fatigue syndrome.
Yeah.
And it literally, like, going to see her doctor went from going to see her primary care, who's amazing, and we love her primary care. That went from a 5-minute trip down the road, which is ideally what you want for a primary care, something like that, to a 40-minute trip to Wakefield that she couldn't do most days because that drive in the sun, etc., would wear her out to go there, do the appointment, and drive back. So then I would have to take time out of work to take her to her doctor's appointments, and she's 37, but because of her chronic illness, that's
Right.
the situation that she's in.
Right.
And it's like she has an amazing primary care doctor, but because of circumstances out of their control, they're now going 40 minutes away. And
I think also the issue in Rhode Island is that we're surrounded by states that are also in need of primary care. So the reimbursement in both Connecticut and in Massachusetts pulls the doctors towards those areas where they get more reimbursement, and it's tragic, I think.
Well, I mean, and you have to go somewhere where you have more reimbursement, because it's not like
Yeah,
it's
you have to pay back loans.
Pay back
yes,
loans,
yeah, exactly.
and pay your staff and pay your rent.
Yeah. I think and you can tell me if I'm completely misguided on this, but I've seen a lot of Scrubs. The TV show Scrubs is going to have a reboot in the fall or winter, and a lot of doctors 25 years ago said this is the most accurate. Yes, it's a zany comedy, but in a lot of ways, it's the most accurate depiction of what it's like to be a doctor, because you have all of these shows for forever that have been glorifying every aspect of it, or just focusing on the very true life-saving aspects of it. But then you have these 20 somethings who who are in their residency, who are like, I'm $400,000 in medical debt. I can't buy a sandwich today.
Right.
And that's something that a lot of people don't think about.
Well, I think both things can be true, right? You can be $400,000 in debt, and you can have the feeling of, wow, I just did something life-saving today, right? So it's sort of
Well, that's the thing. Your job is so
juxtaposition, right? Yeah.
Of course, the first part is true.
Yeah.
Like, of course, you're saving lives, you're helping people, you're doing all of those things. Like,
but it is burdensome. Everybody says, they're a doctor.
Oh yeah.
But you have to carry the burden of
and then also we don't need to get into this, but the weight of caring for a patient. You care, you genuinely care about their well-being, and but you can only do what you can do for them, and that's got to be difficult as well.
It's tremendously rewarding.
Yeah, that's so I just thank you to doctors, nurses, medical staff, the two of you, everyone involved, because there is nothing worse in the world than not feeling well. And there's a quote, I don't know who the actual quote is, but there's a quote that John Green mentions a lot in his books, which is that everyone else's suffering is hypothetical, but your suffering is real. Everyone else's pain is you can't see it, you can't feel it, you don't know. There's a reason why the pain chart is still a thing with the 0 through 10 faces,
right?
And to be able to help people through things like that has to be the most rewarding job.
It is.
I'm not without its difficulties, but it has to be the most rewarding job.
It's a wonderful, the urgent care is a wonderful place to be, because everybody that leaves is happier than when they came in.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Oh, that's the goal.
99.9% are happier when they leave.
Yeah.
But their urgent issue has been satisfied. They've been sutured up. Their fish hook has been taken out of their hand. Whatever it was that needed to get done has been done. And it's very, very rewarding. Our Google reviews are through the roof, and it's just lovely to be in such a great environment. Staff's great. The doctors are fantastic. So it's really been a wonderful experience for me. And I think every patient that leaves feels the same way. This is such a great place. It's a great asset to the community. They're very happy
incredible.
They were there. Yeah.
One of the other resources that you guys can provide is when someone comes in with something and they need to go to a specialist, you can recommend places for them to go, I would imagine.
Sure.
We refer.
Yeah. And that's fantastic, because you need a referral to go to a specialist, and also, as a patient, you don't know what you don't know. So, wonderful first stop for most all medical needs. Again, acute medical needs that aren't, bigger heart attacks and stuff like that, you got to go to the hospital.
So we have all the providers that work with us, myself included, have been primary care providers in the past, and then we transitioned into urgent care. And so we sort of know exactly when you would need a referral or when you would need, and we're not shy to make those. So yeah.
Awesome.
We also have a very good relationship with our rescue, and when we have something that's needs to go to the hospital, we can immediately ship. So it's
Yes.
we do make those decisions quickly, and the like I said, the relationship is excellent with the rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Charlestown Rescue is incredible.
They are.
Yes.
Shout out to them. We've had them on Roll Call. We do a show with where we talk to first responders, and yeah, they're just fantastic human beings, and they've helped me out before
Yeah.
when I lived down there. What have I not asked that you guys would like to talk about?
I'd just like to say that I'd like people to just know that we're there,
Yeah.
that the town of Charlestown is reluctant to have us put signs out on the road on Route 1. But I just want people to understand that we're there. They want to keep the community, sign free, and
It's a scenic. So
Scenic-
Route 1 is a
scenic-
scenic highway. So they haven't. We haven't been able to come to an agreement as to how to put a sign
saying that there's an
saying
urgent
that
care.
there's an urgent
this
care
exit. Yeah.
off this exit, and
Right.
so we've had some issues, but
So even after 2.5 years, people are still saying, "I didn't even know you were here. I've lived here my whole life. I didn't know you were here." So that's frustrating for us, and that's one thing that we would really like to have addressed. But we've gone through every channel we can, through the town, through the state, and we've just banged heads with everyone.
and we appreciate your
Yeah,
your podcast to get the message out.
that we're there.
Hey, Charlestown, meet me at camera 3. What? there are so listen. Route 1 is a scenic highway. I get it. I love it. I love Route 1. I'm a Charahoe grad. I grew up here. That's ridiculous. There are signs all over. There's a sign for I don't want to name places to not. There are signs. There are already signs. Let people know that there's an urgent care. Oh my God. That's a silly. I'm not gonna say that's silly. That's silly. Find a spot for the sign. Let them put a sign up. That's crazy. That's my personal opinion.
Thank you.
That's insane.
It is true. We agree with you completely. Yes.
That is insane. Well, okay. Sorry. We don't get political. I don't think that's a political issue. Just there are signs for everything on Route 1. Put up a sign for the urgent care. My God. And yes, that will still keep Charlestown beautiful and healthy, guys. Beautiful and healthy. Sorry, I got fired up. Listen, I can't
Join the club.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't do anything about the insurance companies,
No.
and I don't think anyone else can either at this point. But we need to let people know that there's an urgent care right around the corner from them in Charlestown. So thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Let everybody know the address and how to get in touch with you.
So our address is 3769 Old Post Road. If you know of Charlestown, we're across the street from Compass Hardware, right down the street from the post office. You can call us at 401-642-9024. We're there 7 days a week, 9 to 6 during the week, 9 to 3 on weekends. We would love to meet the rest of the members of Charlestown and neighboring communities, and we'd love for you to come and see our little urgent care that does great work.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Put up a sign, guys. Let them put up a sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys real soon. And if you need them, they're there. I hope that you don't. I hope that everybody that's watching and listening to this stays happy and healthy and never needs to go to the doctor. But for the 100% of you that will, Charlestown Urgent Care is there when you need them. Thank you guys so much for being here. Bye for now.
Thank you.